Hello students, how are you? So in the first video of the tissues chapter, we discussed the definition of the tissue. Then we started discussing about the plant tissues. Then according to the flow chart that we discussed, plant tissue, there were two types, meristematic and permanent. Okay, then again meristematic was divided into further three types, that was apical meristem, lateral meristem and intercalary meristem. I told you that the apical meristem is present at the growing tip of stem and roots and increases the length. Then we discussed that the lateral meristem was present beneath the bark and was responsible for growth in the width of the stem. Okay, and the third one was intercalary meristem. It was present at internodes or the bases of the leaves and increase the length between the nodes. Then the second one that we discussed was permanent tissue. I told you that by the process of differentiation, the cells of meristematic tissue converts to permanent because they are specialized to perform a specific function. Okay. Further, the permanent tissue were of two types, simple and complex. Okay. In the last video we discussed about only simple, that were parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Okay, I told you one more was there, that was protective, that we didn't discuss. Parenchyma simple tissue, the cells of that were living and they were oval, elongated, loosely packed with intercellular spaces. They were found throughout the plant body and their function was to provide mechanical support to the plant and store food in the vacuole. Okay, some special types of parenchyma we also studied, that chlorenchyma and arenchyma. Okay, then we discussed the collenchyma simple tissue. The cells of collenchyma were also living. They were oval and elongated, tightly packed with no intercellular spaces. We looked at the diagram that there were irregular thickenings, okay, at the corners of the cell. They were found below the epidermis in the leaves and stems, and its function was to provide mechanical support to the plant as well as provide flexibility to the plant so that they can bend without breaking. Okay, then third one that we discussed was sclerenchyma simple tissue. The cells of sclerenchyma cells were tissue were dead. They were narrow and elongated, and very important thing, that the cell wall was composed of lignin in sclerenchyma, which makes it hard. Okay, sclerenchyma were found around vascular bundles, veins of leaves and in hard covering of seeds and nuts. What was the function? The function was to make parts of plant hard and stiff and also provide mechanical strength. Okay, so these three simple tissues we had discussed and one was left, that was protective tissue. So that we will be starting today. Okay student, see why I revised it everything, because the more you listen, the more you learn, okay, the more you will remember. Okay, there is no shortcut, you have to remember it. Okay, very important functions, so you have to remember it. Now we will discussing about protective tissues. Okay, as the name suggests, they protect the plant body by forming an outer layer. Okay, so there will be also of two types we will be discussing. First will be epidermis. Okay, epidermis simple tissue, and another one will be cork simple tissue, and then we will be moving on to the complex tissue. Okay, so now let's discuss the protective tissue. First one is epidermis simple tissue. Epidermis tissue covers the entire body of the plant. They protect plant from injury, germs and water loss. As their name suggests that they are protective. Okay, so they will be protecting the plant, and very important that it covers the entire body of the plant. Okay, cells of epidermal tissue forms a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Okay, there is no intercellular spaces in the epidermis tissue. Then stomata are small openings on epidermal layer of leaf and soft part of stem to facilitate gaseous exchange and transpiration in plants. Very important part, means the stomata and these are present on the epidermal layer, small openings, okay, which helps to for a gaseous exchange and transpiration. You know, transpiration is the water loss in plants. Okay, the next point is about the epidermis simple tissue. In desert plant, very important, epidermis and Cutin is a waterproof waxy substance. They are thicker to reduce loss of water due to transpiration, because you know in desert condition there is scarcity of water. So if transpiration will take place, the loss of water will take place, then it will be not good for the plant. So it prevents the loss of water, or you can say reduce the loss of water that happens due to the transpiration. So it is thick. The epidermis and cutin, because of cutin that is secreted by the epidermis, it is thicker. The examples are desert plants. Okay, very important one. So I hope it is clear. So the thing that is important over here is that they form a continuous layer, no intercellular spaces. It covers the entire body of the plant, protect the plant from injury, and in desert plants epidermis are thicker to reduce loss of water. Okay. Next one is the cork simple tissue. These type of tissues consist of dead cells with no intercellular spaces. They form outer layer of old tree trunks. Okay. Cork cells have chemical called suberin in their walls that make them impervious to gases and water, means they do not allow the gases and water to pass through them. Protects plants from injuries, germs and water loss. Again, it is a part of protective tissue, so it will protect. Cork, being light in weight, is used for making several products like bottle stoppers and shuttle cork. Okay. So this was the simple tissue that we discussed. We discussed parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and then in today's video we discussed protective tissue under the simple tissue. Okay students, I hope it is clear to you, each and every point. Now we are moving into the next type of tissues, very important one for the plants, that are complex tissues. As I told you that simple tissues were the group of similar kind of cells. So the complex tissues are the group of different type of cells that perform a common task together. That is why the name is given as complex tissue. Okay students, and these are of two types, very important, xylem and phloem. So shall we start with xylem? Okay, the first complex tissue that we are going to study in plants is xylem. Okay, see, this is the tissue that transports water and nutrients from root to upper parts of the plant. Very important. Xylem, main function of the xylem is to transport water and nutrients from root to upper parts of the plant. It is composed of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. These are the four kinds of cells that are present. Again, tracheids, vessel, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. Okay, so let's take a look at them one by one. First of all, tracheids. Tracheids are long elongated cells with tapered ending. Tracheid cells are dead and they transport water through pits. Getting students? Tracheids are very long elongated cells with tapered ending. The cells of the tracheids are dead and transport water through pits. Okay. Then next come is vessels. Vessels is a pipe like structure. They are also dead and have lignified thick walls. Okay, they have lignified and thick walls. Getting? Next, xylem parenchyma. Xylem parenchymas are living cells. They store food and nutrients. And the last one is xylem fibers. These are dead cell and they provide mechanical support to the plant. Okay. So in xylem, main function of the xylem is to transport water and nutrients from root to upper parts of the plant. It is composed of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. As I told you, tracheids are long elongated cells with tapered ending. Tracheid cells are dead. They transport water through pits. Vessels is a pipe like structure. They are also dead, have lignified cell wall. Then xylem parenchyma are living. They store food and nutrients. Xylem fibers are dead cells. They provide mechanical support to the plant. Okay students. So now let's move on to the next complex tissue, that is the phloem. Phloem is the tissue that transports food from the site of photosynthesis to different parts of plants. and mainly the site of photosynthesis is leaves. Okay, so we can say that phloem is the tissue that transports food from the site, yani leaves, to different parts of plants. Okay, now it is also composed of sieve cells, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. Okay, all types of cells are living except for phloem fibers, means phloem fibers are dead cells. Okay, and it is composed of sieve cells, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber, out of which phloem fiber is dead cell. Okay, first, sieve cells are elongated and have thin cell wall. They have cytoplasm but no nucleus and other organelle. Very important. I told you all types of cell are living except phloem fiber, but we are saying that sieve cells have no nucleus. So how we can say? We will take a look. Okay, so no nucleus and other organelle. These cells are responsible for transportation of food and nutrients. Second, companion cells have cytoplasm, nucleus and other organelle. Now this line is very important. They perform the task required for the sieve cells for living. Means the nucleus of companion cells controls the sieve cells. We can say like that. Sieve cells do not have nucleus. Okay, so the companion cells perform the task required for sieve cells for living. Okay, then comes the phloem parenchyma that stores food, and phloem fibers that have thick cell wall and they provide mechanical support to the plant. Clear, students? So the xylem that helps in transportation of water and minerals, phloem helps in transportation of food. Phloem is composed of sieve cells, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber. Xylem is composed of tracheids, vessel, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers, and then their structures. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. So students, after discussing the xylem and phloem, let's take a look at the diagram. This diagram actually is given in the NCERT, page number 73. See, we discussed about the tracheids. These are the xylem components: tracheids, vessel and xylem parenchyma. Tracheids, we discussed that they are long, elongated, as it can be seen, with tapered ending. You can see the end, it is tapered. Okay, the cells of the tracheids are dead and transport water through pits. You can see this pits also over the tracheids. Okay, then we discussed about the vessel. Vessel, we discussed, was a pipe like structure. Vessels are also dead and have lignified thick cell wall. Okay, their cell wall is thick. They are pipe like structure. You can see this pipe like structure through which water is transported. Then we discussed about xylem parenchyma. I told you xylem parenchyma are living cells and they store food and nutrients. So you can see the nucleus is given, cytoplasm is also there. So the xylem parenchyma are living cells. Okay, and the xylem fibers, they are like fibers. Okay, simple fibers like cell. Okay, they are dead cells as we discussed about them. Okay, I hope it is clear. Next diagram is of phloem. It is a section showing phloem. In phloem, we discussed there are sieve cells, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, now look at the sieve tube cells. You can see that sieve tubes are elongated, they have thin cell wall, they have cytoplasm but no nucleus and other organelle. You can take a look, there is only cytoplasm. Okay, what is their function? They are responsible for transportation of food and nutrients. Okay, then companion cells, they have cytoplasm, nucleus and other organelle. You can see, and we discussed that the nucleus of the companion cell helps the sieve tube for living. Okay, then phloem parenchyma, I told you, they store food, and phloem fibers, they have thick cell wall and they provide mechanical support to the plant. Okay, and I also told you that phloem fibers are dead. Okay, students, so I hope it is clear, xylem and phloem. Now let's take a look at some differences of xylem and phloem. Okay, first of all, xylem, we know that it conducts water and minerals. In phloem, it conducts organic solutes or food materials. Okay, second is, in xylem, conduction is mostly unidirectional, that is from roots to apical parts of the plant, only in one direction, because water moves from roots to upper part of the plant. But in phloem, conduction may be bidirectional from leaves to storage organs and growing parts, or from storage organs to growing parts of the plant. Okay, means it can be two directional, but in xylem it is unidirectional. Okay, then conducting channels. Conducting channels are tracheids and vessels. Means the water that are conducted through is tracheids and vessels. And in phloem the conducting channel is sieve tubes. Okay, next the components of xylem include tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fiber. Okay, and the components of sieve elements are companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, so these are the four differences of xylem and phloem. I hope we have discussed also, and I hope it is clear to you. Okay students, so students, now the plant cells, or you can say the plant tissues, is complete. We have discussed the simple also and the complex tissues, xylem and phloem also. Okay students, in the next we will be starting animal tissues. Okay, let's discuss it in brief. You know, when we breathe we can actually feel the movement of our chest. So how do these parts move? You can say we have specialized cells called muscle cells, and the contraction and relaxation of these cells result in the movement. Okay, you have muscles, and you can also say that during breathing we inhale oxygen, so it is absorbed in the blood, and with the help of blood that oxygen reaches to all the body parts. Okay, now blood and muscles are both examples of tissues that are found in our body. Okay, so on the basis of the functions they perform, we can think different types of animal tissues that will be discussed in the next videos, and that are epithelial tissues, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. Okay, the two that we discussed was that muscles were the form of muscular tissue and blood is a type of connective tissue. As the name suggests, connective tissue, because it is connecting different parts of the body. Okay, so I hope the plant tissue is clear, and in the next, the animal, we will be starting important animal tissues. But before that, complete your notes till this xylem and phloem. Okay, and learn them also, and stay inside our house, keep studying. Thank you.